Hey everyone, back again for round two. We just had some technical difficulties, but let me know if the audio is working in the chat. Not perfect because it's coming from my camera, because as I said, my mic is in the mail. Perfect. Okay. Well, apologize. So I'll go through my spiel again. Hello everyone. Welcome to this week's Rokoko Office Hours. I'm Sam Lazarus. I'm the creative director for Rokoko. And if you've never joined our office hours before, this is an opportunity to ask questions about Rokoko mocap hardware, software, workflows, ask questions in general about whatever, specific software. And then I'm going to be working on a project in the background, and we'll be having a little fun. So, and the project today, we're going to take a look at a little VTuber setup that I did with the Metahumans in Unreal. And then one of our new content team members showed me an awesome control rig setup for Maya that I thought we'd take a peek at too if we had time. So, hello, Senpai VTuber. Nice to see you. I don't know if Luke got in touch with you with some of my answers for some of your questions, but I wrote a bunch of answers about your questions that you had. I think that was you. So hopefully you got those. And feel free to ask any more in the chat. So the other thing that I'm doing now is I like to just do a little thing where I look at some of the customer projects that have been done in the last week using Rokoko. So take a peek at a few of these. This is one by Ace Animation, this amazing AI code video game. They did a bunch of the animation for the trailer for. Looks really cool. I'm going to make myself a little bit bigger here. Yeah, so this is an awesome one. Ace Animation, incredibly well done. Good job. This is a company called Digital Puppet, based out of the UK, that we did some work with recently, and they just put out a video showing how to add physics to your VTubing character in iClone. So this is kind of the gold standard for VTubing in terms of what you want to be able to do. We've been trying to figure out a good workflow for adding this to Unreal and Unity. It seems like it's built into iClone, so you can see that the character's hands are just hitting the desk. This is amazing. So I encourage you to go check out this workflow if you're curious about iClone VTubing. This is super cool. Moving right along, Tipsy Labs got some smart gloves. Just a good shot of the smart gloves, so I thought I'd throw that up. AV Tones. This is an amazing creator who has been putting out some animations using the suit and the gloves. This is so cool, I think. Look at this. It's amazing. Here's another one that they did, which looks so bananas. Yeah, I think this is Unreal. Looks super cool. So, another person to follow if you're interested in Rokoko mocap. Wanted to call out Craig Simmers 3D. They created the short film Imminent. It's really gorgeous. Unreal Engine using the suit. So this was amazing, and this was in the Made with Rokoko contest, and I think it got second. So this was amazing project. Just cruising along, cool little project with a guy working on a a statue. I think this is Blender. So this is really cool from Par Virtual. No One Studios back with another incredible little short. Something about a lost world or something, but their content is gorgeous, so love this. Another cool one, Victoria Banya, really awesome. Beautiful. Just going to go through these really quick. Nardatronic had this great new single video. Also, a cool use of the suit, really cool style. And finally, Pixel Fire, the VTuber, gaming VTuber, got their hands on a suit and it's up in their game, and this is looking amazing. So, just some creator stuff really quickly, and just want to show that off. So, Senpai VTuber, yes, hi Duxie, it's working now. So, you can remove the overlay. The overlay that you would send over for Unity, that's the API. So that basically allows you to control Rokoko Studio within Unity. You can just remove that from your scene in Outliner, in the Outliner in Unity, and it'll disappear. The nice thing about having it is that you can control, if you want to do a calibration, you don't have to go back to Rokoko Studio. You can do it from within Unity. So it's a give and take. I mean, you can absolutely remove it. Again, you just remove it from the outliner. If you download the demo scene, or Unity demo scene, if you download the Unity plugin for Rokoko, it'll come with a demo scene, and you can actually go in and play around with it, and that's free, you know. And you just Google Rokoko Unity plugin, and that'll kind of, you know, that's where it is. So hopefully that answers some of your questions. And again, I wrote out a bunch of answers to those other questions that you sent, so Luke should be sending those your way. Again, just want to make sure audio is working, everyone. Is it's working good? Everything's looking okay? I'll take that for a yes. Okay, so, you know, again, the purpose of this... Hello, Glitch. Thank you, Dracow. Yeah, we were having some technical issues before. So, yeah, again, the purpose of this is to... Thank you! Yep, I moved back to the West Coast, so back at home, my home office. Nice to be back. And, yeah. So yeah, you know, again, the purpose of the office hours is ask any question you want. We can go down some rabbit holes, and I'll try my best to give you an answer. And in the meantime, I'm just gonna pull up some stuff that I've been working on, and kind of go through it, and yeah. Sweet, Senpai. Yeah, it should be coming through. I wrote those out and sent those to Nicholas or to Lucas. Cool. So let's do it. Let's open up some Unrealness. So I am working on actually a big, fatty, not Metahuman, just VTuber masterclass is kind of what we're calling it. And it's going to go over it's going to try to go over VTubing from start to finish, you know, with a particular focus on Rokoko and how you can use Rokoko the best that we've found. But, you know, it's also going to try to offer, if you're really new to VTubing, like what it is, the different types of VTubers that there are out there. You know, what is Holo Live? What is Code Miko? They're all kind of different, and so it's gonna look at a lot of the whole VTubing community, and it's gonna focus on Unreal and Unity, and it might do iClone, might add that in. But yeah, so I've been playing around a lot with VTubers, and this is a VTuber setup that I just created the other day. So let me stream deck my way over to Unreal. So as I let me zoom in here a little bit. So yeah, I mean, as I said, and part of the reason that a couple questions here before I get into this. Do you do 3D scans? I've never done a 3D scan. I have done a 3D scan, but you know, Ian Hubert does a lot of them and uses them for mocap, so it's super viable to do 3D scans. If you're trying to look into 3D scans, Duxie, look up Reality Capture if you're in Blender. I don't know, maybe it does other programs too, but that's my extent of 3D scans. 3D scans in VTubing, that's a whole other thing. That's tough, but just having a 3D scan for like a body without the facial capture totally works. What would the best way, Glitch VR, what would the best way to use hand tracking with body tracking in Unity? Hand tracking with body tracking. So maybe you can elaborate on that, Glitch. I think you mean, I don't know what you mean. Do you mean just with gloves, or do you mean hand and body tracking? Let me know. And in terms of Unreal versus Unity, there was actually really good. I would go check out Citizen Meta 1's stream. Hold on. Meta One. So they, Matt Workman, who's a VTubing boss, he does this thing called a VR roll now. Or what is it called? I forget what he's calling it. But basically, he does a roundup of all the VTubing information out there every week. And he points out this interview that was done, which talks about Unity versus Unreal. And this is a great 10-minute interview about Unity versus Unreal from two VTubers. So, I mean, I like Unreal. Unity has its advantages. It just, I think it kind of depends. And then Seung, trying to implement a setup, find a solution with Collision IK. What program are you in? Seung, let me know. So Glitch, one thing that is possible, and again, I would check out Citizen Meta 1 for all this, because he's played around with all of this. But I think one thing that you could do is, slap 2 Vive trackers on your wrists, use those to do an IK chain for the arms. Yeah, Fofam, it's great. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her thing, but use Vive trackers for the wrists, and then use the gloves to retarget for the fingers. And then you could use Rokoko face capture for the face, or you could use another solution for the face. That's like one way to get around it with just the gloves. Obviously, the gloves don't track very well in space, so you're going to have to use a Vive tracker or something to track them in space. So that could be something to explore. It just is going to take a lot more expertise in Unreal and blueprint building to get that working, although it shouldn't be too tough. So hopefully that's a good answer. And again, Citizen Meta 1 has a bunch of things on this specifically. Seung, Collision IK in Unreal, that is the golden... I'm looking for that too. I mean, I'm still learning Unreal. It should totally be doable. And again, I keep saying Citizen Meta 1, but he did a whole live stream or video on how he set it up, and he just parented collision boxes or spheres to his hands, and so they would like snap to surfaces and stuff. It just takes blueprint knowledge. You just gotta kind of know what you're doing in the blueprints, which I'm still learning. But it should totally be doable. Yeah. The gloves are great for that. So Glitch, that could be a solution, and you just got to invest in Vive tracker, whole Vive setup. That's kind of the thing there. And Seung, I don't know if you saw, but you're in Unreal. It doesn't really help, but there was just someone who put out a tutorial on how to do collisions in iClone, and it was super cool. And it seems a lot easier in iClone. They just set up they set up the desk as a terrain object, and that meant that the character's limbs weren't passing through it. So that was cool. Maybe there's something similar in Unreal. There's definitely a way to do it. Hopefully we'll have it figured out for this VTubing course. So yeah, that's a couple. Yeah. Cool, Glitch. So yeah, that's a couple answers there. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to walk through. This was a, there's a free VTuber setup project file in the tutorial that we put out a little while ago. But that was done just using like a green screen background. So I kind of wanted to figure out what, make a little scene that would include a VTuber that is like behind a desk, kind of more in the Code Miko style. So this was I basically, this project, what I did is that I have a character here, and I have brought in a FBX body. You might recognize this body, but it's from a, it's from like one of those, it's one of the more common character models you get on like Turbo Squid or whatever. Brought it in to Unreal. Let me open up the blueprint here, show you what I did here. And what I did is I followed our basic setup to get it working with Rokoko motion capture. But I did a couple changes. One thing that I did that was different was on this pose asset. This is the model, but I created a pose asset, and what I did was I posed this character so that A was in a T pose, which it needs to be in to work with Rokoko motion capture, and then B, I posed the legs in a sitting position, and I scaled down the head. So the head is actually still here. It's just really tiny. Choop, choop, choop. And that allows me to slap a metahuman onto the head and use that as the head for the for the facial motion capture. So again, I kind of put out a free project file that includes this whole workflow, and it has a character for Unreal. It's all set up, and also that tutorial goes through how it was made, kind of more, in more detail. But yeah, so what I did is I posed this character like this, and then in the bone list for this body, I just excluded the legs. So if we open up the bone list here, which you have to use, oh, it's really small. I don't know how to make this bigger. Can I make it bigger just by... There we go. If you look at the bone list, under the legs, I just have none. I just deleted the input, so it's not bringing in any of the Rokoko motion capture from the legs. So that means that the legs aren't going to... Because with Rokoko mocap, if you're not standing, the legs will start to drift. Especially if you're sitting and you kind of lift them up, they'll start to go crazy on you. So this just ensures that your character is not reflecting into that crazy leg mocap. And then I just took a metahuman head and I plopped it right on the body, and I attached it to the head bone, put it into place. And if we turn on Live Link, ooh, I gotta open up Rokoko Studio first. And again, so yeah, my my mic is in the mail, and then also my dedicated router is in the mail. So I wanted to do this whole thing as the VTuber this week. That'll be next week. So right now I'm just going to use pre-recorded mocap that I have. And this is the sample project that you can download with Rokoko Studio, and all these animations are here. But what I would have done if I had my dedicated router is I would have put on the suit, I would have put it in treadmill mode. As you can see, this character is not moving around. They're in treadmill mode, which means they stay locked into place. Turn on my Unreal plugin here. I'm just going to let this play on repeat. Get our live link going. Hit play. Ooh, look at that. I parented the chair to the character. And if I go to my, this is basically how you would do VTubing in Unreal. And then I would, go full screen. I would frame it out a little bit in, in OBS or whatever. Hold on, let me, yeah, there we go. And yeah, that's kind of the vibe. Why you mad? I am not the CEO of Rokoko. I'm the creative director. CEO of Rokoko. The founders of Rokoko are two guys named Jacob and Matthias, are fearless leaders. But no, I'm not. I'm just the guy who tinkers around with all the tech and tries to make workflows for you guys. So yeah, anyway, so this is kind of the VTuber setup. This is what it would be like. And yeah, it works super well. And I really like the idea of using metahuman heads on, other bodies. Because the problem with metahumans is they don't really have good clothes or whatever. Senpai VTuber, what is the resource that... So this was a question that you asked in that list. It's not... there's recommended specs for running Rokoko Studio, which are very low. it doesn't take any processing power really to do it. And then, oh, Seung, I have a question for you on that. Maybe you can tell me more about Spout, because I've seen that before. But yeah, there's not. I don't think the problem you're going to run into, Senpai, is with the real-time mocap transfer to Unreal. That's not going to be your problem. The problem is going to be how complex your Unreal scene is, which you can do things like enable DLSS or whatever to combat that and still get a high quality image. That's going to be the problem. And then the other problem is going to be you really need to you want to be doing your mocap in an offline router. So if I was doing this live, I have this laptop right here. And what you actually need to do is you need to be doing all of your, in my experience, because everything for the suit is done off Wi-Fi, you don't want to be doing all of your mocap off of a Wi-Fi network. That's body, that's two gloves, that's facial capture. That's all going over the Wi-Fi, eating up the bandwidth, going into your computer. And then you don't want to be running a live stream on top of that, because it's just you're gonna get maybe dropouts on the mocap. Your live stream quality might be bad. So what you want to do is you actually have everything set up on your beefy computer for your mocap, and that is connected to an offline router. That's a router that's not connected to the internet. It's only handling the transmission of the mocap data from your suit to the computer. And then you use a Camlink 4K or whatever it is to run the display from your offline computer to a cheap second laptop that is actually running the live stream, and that is connected to the internet. So it's a little bit of a workaround that you need to do because the suit is working off of Wi-Fi. So that's how I've done it in the past. And it's a different story if you're doing offline recording. You can record offline all the time, but I always recommend having a offline router, dedicated offline router that you're using for your mocap. And same thing for XNs. When you buy an XN suit, they actually send you a router, is my understanding, that you're supposed to use that's not connected to the internet, because it's all going over Wi-Fi. So you don't want to cloud that bandwidth with your live stream, which is it's gonna eat up all that bandwidth, and you're gonna get poor mocap performance, or you're gonna get poor live streaming performance. So you gotta have this two computer system for VTubing, which is a little bit of a more expense, but if you're already getting into this and you've invested in these tools, it doesn't need to be a nice computer. Get a cheap used computer for $100 or whatever. It just needs to be able to connect to the internet and be able to run OBS and have a USB, input. So it doesn't need to be a fancy computer that's connected to the internet. So that's the setup. And again, I'm working on this whole series that's going to go through this whole setup and how we recommend you do it. So anyway, that's my diatribe on that. Glitch VR, how many views would I need to get on a video to get you tagged to get a pair of Rokoko gloves? I don't know. I think what we do is we run these contests made with Rokoko, hashtag made with Rokoko. Check our social channels, and then you can get like discounts and stuff like that. That might be a better route to try and win one of those contests. And then the rest of it is, we do have a sponsorship program that we sponsor, people like Ian Hubert and Clinton Jones and stuff, and so, they're pretty big. I don't know if I would rise to the occasion of being a Rokoko sponsor if I didn't work for the company, So I don't know. I don't have a good answer, but keep making Rokoko content. That's kind of, it all comes down to, we want to sponsor people who are making next level content. So if you're doing that, you're on the right track. And then also check out those, Shutter Authority. I mean, massive. Okay, going through these questions, which is the purpose of these office hours. So I'm happy you're all here. Seung, getting back to Spout, yeah, that's what I've seen as a virtual feed to go to OBS. That's what I've heard before. I've never used it, and so I'm trying to get into it. I don't know if that is the best way to do it. People have said that, but you can yeah, you can output an alpha directly into OBS or whatever. You're probably right. I don't know. I haven't used it, but yeah, that's something interesting to look into for people looking at VTubing in Unreal, and I need to look at it too. I've heard that before. It's a good. I think that's correct. I think you're right. Chika Ito. Golly, I guess you can. I don't know. I don't know. You might want to check the specs on our site, but you obviously don't want to blow out the suit or the suit or the gloves. So I don't know if you can power them directly. I don't know why you would. Their power draw is really low, so like I have very generic batteries that I use, and they never run out of power. I charge them like once a month, so I don't know. If you were charging directly to power, you'd have cables coming out, and so there's no way you can get through a battery in like 12 hours of use. So if you were VTubing, for example, you wouldn't need to plug in directly. You just use a battery. And Xiang, I'm just going through these in order. I don't know the gigabit estimate. It's enough that if you are running, a VTuber live stream, it's going to interfere. If you're running if you've got a suit and gloves and you're watching a 4K YouTube video on the same network, you're going to get dropouts. So it really does need, it's not more than a gigabit or whatever, right? The low end of what a router can do. I don't know what the actual estimate is, but it's enough that you need to have an offline router. You don't need to, but I recommend it. And it's a low cost for something. If you're invested in the suit and everything, get an offline dedicated router. It just keeps things cleaner too. You can go to other places without disrupting your home Wi-Fi. And also, if the other reason is you can have it located, when I'm using my offline router, it's right here next to my suit. If your router in your house is through a bunch of walls, it's going to degrade the Wi-Fi quality too. So I can, maybe I'll ask our development team what the actual gigabit thing is, but yeah. No, yeah, Chika Ito, it's not going to run out. It just won't. The power draw is so light. So it's even if you're running a 12-hour stream, I think you could easily go the whole thing. Yeah, maybe you have multiple banks. Project Melody. I mean, I've been going down the VTuber rabbit hole, Senpai. So I don't know what she uses. It's not a Rokoko suit because she's been around for too long. She's one of the early ones, is my understanding. I imagine it's Vive trackers, but I don't know. Also, it seems like, does she do live stuff? I feel like a lot of her stuff is pre-recorded. I haven't looked at her Twitch stream, so maybe it's all live on her Twitch stream. But yeah. Anyway. Cool. Yeah, so that's some stuff. The other thing that, if you're Unreal people, cool. Yeah, Chica, you can also combine them, and get absolute positioning. Here's a question that you guys can help me with. So the other thing that I did is I parented a camera to my character's head. And this, I think, is so bananas. Oh, okay, Senpai. I think this is so cool, having the POV of the character or whatever. Just looks so natural and, looks so good. But I cannot play this back live. So maybe you guys can tell me why. So I'm in play here, and I've been Googling the hell out of this. If I switch over to this camera, it just goes to the position, of the camera in the scene. It doesn't update live like it does in the preview. So I don't know why this is, but I would love to be able to parent a camera to my character's head live. I imagine it's because, again, I'm like kind of a noob when it comes to Unreal blueprinting, and so I imagine I just would need to actually get into the blueprints and play with it there. But it's so bizarre to me that I've got the preview. I didn't. I don't even know how to do that, Woody. So I won't ask you guys to try and help me. I'm going to betray my utter lack of Unreal knowledge. But yeah, I guess that's what I need to do. I need to do the parenting in the blueprint. Is that in the animation graph or in the event graph? I feel like that would be in the event graph. Oh god, I really don't know. Yeah. Okay, Woody, that's what I assumed. I'm just gonna have to, yeah, that's what I mean. I added a head socket and everything, and it's still, I just need to figure it out. So anyway, it's clearly possible, and I look at this. I think this is so cool. Having this POV view. For whatever reason, it's so smooth in the viewer. Here, let's. I'm not going to go too deep because I'm embarrassed by how little I know about Unreal still. But if I open up my blueprint, and I'm simulating right now. But where would I would. I don't know. Yeah, it's an Anim blueprint. So it's not a proper level blueprint. That's what I did. Create. Oh. Converting my skeletal mesh into a regular blueprint. Not an animation blueprint. Might get tricky. Because I know that to have the mocap running, it has to be an animation blueprint, I think. Anyway, for another time, I'm going to keep at it in the Google. Okay, I'm going to switch over to Maya now. Okay, let's go down the rabbit hole. So I need to add a new... Okay. And then would I just parent it under here? Cine camera. And then I would attach this. Okay. So this is the right. God, my resolution is parent socket. Huh? change the socket in the sidebar. Stop. Yeah, here, right? Parent socket. Head socket. So now it's doing it. But where is, oh God. Where is this camera? Oh, it's in, oh, I gotta compile and save. Cyberpunk. Oh, wow. And then, but where would the camera be? This is like you guys are just teaching me now. This is great because this is like more information that I'd be struggling in Google. Okay, well, I don't want to get onto this forever. It's going to be in the blueprint. Oh. So okay. Well, this is going to be deep, and I feel like this is unfair to just have this be about me figuring out my issues here. Between the details and the outliner. Hello, Adam. Anyway, it's doable, I guess, but I don't know how. Okay, I'm going to save this out, and we're going to move on. Thank you for bearing with me, and thank you, Woody Davis, for trying to help me. I'm not going to save this. Cool, because I did want to just quickly hop into Maya and show a cool new workflow that one of our fantastic new content team members, who is a Maya master, Neelis, showed me. And so, yeah, let's do that. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Woody. Killing it. Help me out. Okay, well, this is just a way to basically do Maya IK animation, tweaking mocap using IK, and yeah, it's a great little workflow. So we're gonna hop into Maya. Adam filmed. No, I just had to move it today, so it's still gonna be Thursdays at 11 a.m. PDT, but I just actually have a wedding to go to tomorrow, so I couldn't do it tomorrow. And instead of not doing it, I thought we'd do it today, just because I needed Woody Davis to help me figure stuff out. You guys are the best. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's go and grab a little character. So I have this. I just got this cyborg character actually, and this is already rigged. So you know, if you know anything about Maya, and again, feel free to ask questions not about Maya if you just want to chat about. Keep chatting about Unreal stuff, but I am just going to go through this in the background. But for Rokoko motion capture retargeting, I think Maya is the best solution. Thanks, Woody. That'd be great. Um, you know, um, feel free to shoot me an email at sam@rokoko.com because I'd love to ask you a couple questions. Maybe you can help me out more. Don't dox me, everyone. Um, have you checked when you can rent a Rokoko suit instead of buying it? Unfortunately, yeah, we still don't have a rental program up and running. We are still working on that loaner program, Atom Films. I'm sorry I don't have more news on that. But we will have a loaner program up eventually. It's just now we're trying to get all the suits we have out to customers, because there has been some shipping problem or manufacturing problems. So all the suits are going out to people who bought suits. And so we don't have the loaner program up and running right now. But it's coming. Anyway, Maya, I think, is the best retargeting workflow program for Rokoko motion capture, or really any motion capture. I don't know why, but something about the Maya Human IK system is really clean, and you end up with less foot slippage, and it just generally, I think, tends to do a better job of retargeting. And so that's why, we have creators like Locher Films and Cinematic Captures who do the Star Wars fan fiction stuff, or fan fiction, Star Wars fan film, VFX stuff. Their workflow is to do all their retargeting in Maya, and then they export a character that is already animated with the mocap into Unreal, and then they do virtual camera stuff in there. But they use Maya as the backbone for all of their retargeting because it's so great. Despite how confusing and horrible Maya can be, it's really great at doing retargeting. And also there's a new indie program for Maya. So it's expensive. It's $300 a year, but it's a lot less expensive than it used to be. So it's a little bit more accessible. And also, if you're a student, you can get Maya for free through their educational program, and you can access it that way. So anyway, if you want to do offline retargeting of your mocap, I really recommend Maya. It's what I always use. I think it's the best retargeting system that is out there. So that being said, we have all these tutorials out for how to do retargeting in Maya. You basically define the bones of your character in this little Maya Human IK panel. And once you've done that, you can add mocap to your character. So I'll just go through kind of what the standard way of adding mocap has been in the past. So, I would go and I would grab, I was playing with this, I think. Import some mocap. I'm going to make this none. Select my mocap. I'm going to create a character definition. Select hips on my imported mocap, which is right here. Choo, 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 choo. And then I can load in the Human IK preset, which is what I exported from Rokoko Studio, the My Human IK skeleton. That will automatically define the bones. And then I would just select my character as the target, my mocap as the source, hit play, and you have mocap, right? So that's kind of been the process for getting mocap onto a character. Atom Films, I'm with you. C4D for life. However, this new method is way better because it allows you to use IK systems on top of your mocap. Woody? So I think, essentially the reason that Maya is so good is because it's had years and years. It is the animator's program. Still they do so much animation in Maya. And so I don't really know what is the special sauce behind this retargeting, but I do know that even like an Auto Rig Pro or the character definition tag in Cinema 4D, Auto Rig Pro being in Blender, and then in Unreal you have the retargeting manager, which is just unwieldy as all hell because it's not, Unreal is becoming more of a multi-purpose program in terms of like sculpting. I mean, you've been able to do sculpting, but like hand keying animation, you know, with the control rig and stuff. Auto Rig Pro is great, but I find that with Auto Rig Pro, you get not as good results for whatever reason. I don't know why. Something about the way that this system works, it just gives you a more accurate retarget for your mocap. Auto Rig Pro is a plugin in Blender that does retargeting and does adds control rigs and animation rigs and stuff. And yeah, check out Woody's channel. I'm sure he's got some amazing stuff. He's been helping us out all day. Anyway, I don't know what differentiates it, but it is, in my experience, the best. So there you go. So for this new retargeting workflow, I have that same project, and I haven't imported my mocap or anything, but I have defined the bones of my character. And now if I just go and hit create control rig, it's going to go in and it's going to create an IK control rig as best it can. You know, it's not going to be perfect, but it is going to create this control rig that you can use to control your character, right? So that's cool. Put that back. So now let's go and import the mocap. So I'm gonna change the source back to none. I'm gonna go grab my mocap, import Smart Suit project, or is it Rokoko mocap was what I was using. Yep. And this was a my human IK export from Rokoko Studio. Import it. So here's my mocap. And I'm going to add my mocap. I'm going to, define it the same way I did before. So none, create character definition, load in this human IK preset. Boom. Defines it for me. Then I'm going to add it to my character. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this little blue guy right here, and I'm going to bake this to the control rig that we created for this character. So let me go through and do that. It's doing its thing. Boom. So at this point, you can see it immediately swapped back to the control rig. So I can delete my mocap here, delete it out of the scene. I don't need that anymore because it's baked into this control rig. But now what I can do is if I select the control rig bits and I add them to a new animation layer, let's go in and add every single major control rig thing. The shoulders, this body one, this guy shoulder, this guy wrist, the hips, the legs. I'm not going to do the feet or the, this is a lot of them. This is the major ones, and I'm going to hit this little plane with a circle, create layer from selection, and I'm going to create an animation layer. And I don't know if you saw that, but when I did that, it basically, there were a bunch of keyframes on all these things, and now they're gone. And now what you can do is, let's say I want him to just be more crouched this entire time. Just lower this down. And I need to create a keyframe. Create a keyframe, and now his entire animation is crouched. Let's say I just wanted to, let's delete that keyframe, undo that, and say when he's doing this move, I just want it to come down. Well, I would kind of go to the dip here, create a keyframe, then I'd move back, and you can hit this 0 layer key layer, and that will return it to what it was originally, and it will add a keyframe there. And then I'll do it on the other side here. You can't really see them, they're like red, but now you can see that it dips down. And what we could do is, make sure that it was dipped for all of this. And there we go. So super, really cool, because it does this all with inverse, with IK. So it's going to not only, the way that we have a tutorial up right now that is how to tweak your mocap in Maya. And the way that you do it is you add the individual bones to animation layers, and you have to tweak each individual bones. This is so much better because it allows you to to do these with IK. So let's see if I can. This one I tried it earlier and it was a little funky, but like this clipping issue right here, obviously not good. Can we move this out? Create a keyframe. I'm going to zero this. Zero this. Boom. Like, that is just, I don't know if you caught that, but that is fantastic. That clipping is so much better, and that was so much easier than moving the upper arm bone and then the forearm bone and then the hand all individually. It's just so great if you can do it using IK. So super cool. This workflow I just think is fantastic. Let's like make this kick really dramatic. Let's try something here. See, I'm bad at kicking. So let's say right here we want to really give this make this a really badass kick. I'm not a keyframe animator, but yeah. Let's see how this looks. Ooh, that looks ugly, but we're just gonna pretend it looks good. This one I'm gonna bring up. Yeah. And then, zero out these values. And zero them back out here. So not good, but it is really cool what you can do with this. Woody Davis. Yeah, so there are. What I would do is, I keep throwing his name out, but Citizen Meta 1, he did a whole big live stream a little while ago on how to bake to the control rig in Unreal. And it's totally doable with the Metahuman or with that, with whatever character. You just bake it to a control rig, and then you can go in and add additive animations on top of it. So that's the way to do it, from what I understand. I haven't played with it myself because it's intimidating, but I definitely know it's possible, and that's what I would recommend going out and checking Citizen Meta 1 for that. Yeah, he definitely had one. It was a little while ago. Now he's doing a lot of crazy stuff right now, but it was when he was like in his big Metahuman phase and playing with all that stuff. So anyway, this workflow in Maya is really fantastic, and yeah, we'll be putting up a tutorial on this soon, hopefully with our new content team members, which would be pretty good. No, Woody, on YouTube. Or maybe you're asking Dario. Metahumans for product presentations. That's cool. That's really cool. The Metahumans are great. They're only going to get better. Can't wait till they're fully released. It was supposed to be in 2021 sometime, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Is it 2021? What year is it? Yeah. I think we still got a couple months left. Cool. Well, that was kind of what I wanted to go through for today. This is kind of a shorter one. Unless anyone has any final questions or anything, any other things you want to talk about, we could Xiang, you did it. Awesome. That is so great. I'm going to be going and doing that myself. So now your character like holds up a selfie camera? That's amazing. Woody Davis, saving the day. Oh, the dog. The dog is my dog. This is Bocce. Bocce. You want to say hi to everyone? Really quickly? Ooh. Oh. Hi. Pups. Say hi to everyone. Look, that's you. Don't give me licks. Be cute. You only know how to be cute, don't you? You're a hedgehog. Yeah. We should have a dog camera. I'll set that up for next time. Oh, she's tired. I know, she's a cutie. Her name is Dr. Bacchanalia Hellsberg Lazarus. Fachi. Oh yeah. She's tired. But she's about to go for a walk. Cool. Well, that's awesome, Woody. Thank you for all the help this stream. It's so cool that Seung, you got that working. Yeah, and we'll be doing lots more Unreal Metahuman stuff in the future, I'm sure. Oh, especially as this VTubing series gets kicked off. Oh my gosh, such a sweetie. And yeah, I think we might call it there. Oh. Oh, for the week, unless anyone has anything else that they want to talk about. Oh, lie down. There you go. I'm gonna sign off. So yeah, thanks so much, everyone. It was a lot of fun this week. We're gonna be back to Thursdays next week, so I encourage you to tune in. And don't know what we'll be doing, but maybe we'll put out a call to review and go through some mocap cleanup of people's, people can submit some mocap. We can go through it together and kind of work on how to clean it up. That's something we're trying to do once a month in these streams. Or maybe it'll be more Metahumans, or maybe some Unity. Thank you. Not my wedding, for anyone who's just tuning in, but a friend's wedding. It should be fun. V-Ray for iClone, Dario. I don't know if it's compatible with iClone. It might be. Yeah, I'm not sure. Sorry, not a good answer, but unsure. Yes, we could do more C4D stuff too. That would be fun as well. Cool, everyone. I'm gonna sign off, and Bocce and I are gonna go for a little walk. And thanks for tuning in. Thank you again, Woody, for all the help. And yeah, it was fun. Thanks for attending. Okay, see you guys next week. And Yeah, keep making cool stuff. Tag us if you make stuff. Made with Rokoko. Hashtag made with Rokoko. Okay. See you, everyone. Bye-bye.